Graham Hill was larger than life, really, in many ways. There's nobody even close today to what Graham Hill was as a character. He was very polished. You know, having somebody like me arrive into a team couldn't have been an easy thing to face, because there's quite a few racetracks I was quicker than Graham straight away.
Graham recognised the challenge was coming from Jackie.
That in 1968, Hill was to show the world that he was more than just a racing champion. Just a month after Clark's death, Hill drove to victory in Spain. And then, at Monaco, the very next race, he did it again.
To me, it's a thrill to see an expert at work. Upon meeting Graham Hill, you like him. Watching him made me become more interested in racing and what these men were doing.
Remarkably, by the time they reached Mexico for the season climax, Hill had dragged Lotus up from the deepest despair to within striking distance of both the team and the Drivers' World Championship. The men to beat were Denny Hume and closest contender, Jackie Stewart. Almost on lap 5, Stewart passed Hill, taking the lead. On the 9th lap, Hill retook it. Then a stroke of luck. Denny Hume spun off. He was out of the race and the championship. It was now between Hill and Stewart. With 10 laps to go, Hill pulled clear from Stewart, who dropped to 5th with fuel pump trouble. Now, only engine failure or a crash stood between Hill and the World Championship.
Hill wins the race and the championship with Colin Chapman's Lotus.
It was Graham's leadership, Graham's charisma, his to win his second World Championship, and an outstanding testimony to a truly outstanding man.
But in the high-octane world of Formula One, no one is king for long. His reign came to an abrupt end in America in 1969.
On the 92nd lap, his Lotus suddenly spun into the air at 150 miles an hour, rolled over twice, and Hill was thrown out with serious injuries to both legs.
Although Hill put a brave face on it, at 40 years old, his career looked to be over.
Well, Matra produced a very good car for us, and we won several races in what was our first year in Formula One.
It's a mechanical happening, you know, it builds up, and it's not in the bump rubbers, because, you know, there's not that much cornering force.
But it was in '69 they produced a quite exceptional car, and that's how Jackie won his first championship.
Tyres to burn, records to smash in the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, where a long-haired Scotsman will confirm his reputation for precise, orderly mastery of the circuit. Jackie's partnership with Ken Tyrrell's Matra Fords has become the biggest thing since Lotus Fords and Jim Clark.
Ken Stewart hold the line on this, the last lap. Somebody's challenging, it's Rindt going through. Jochen Rindt takes the lead in the Parabonica on the last corner, on the last lap. It must be, it's over the line together, and it's almost a dead heat. It's Jackie Stewart, Rindt, Beltoise and McLaren. Nobody has ever seen the finish of a motor race like that.
But it was a monumentally...
Jackie Stewart reaches the climax of his career.
you've had a magnificent year, and I must say I'm full of envy.
Well, it's very nice of you, Graham. I'm sorry that the season ended up the way it did for you, but I'm sure that they're looking well and they're going to be back in the business next year.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jackie. Do you have any sort of funny moments during the year that you could talk about?
Not very many. Not very many I can talk about. But
no, neither did I. No, you come to mention that. Anyway, Jackie, I'd like to congratulate you for a fabulous season. I'd like to wish you a lot of luck for next year. Not quite as much as myself, but I hope you succeed with this new car that you're going to be driving.
Well, I wish you good fortune too, Graham.
Thank you, Jackie.
15 years ago, Jackie Stewart got Fangio's autograph. Now he's the idol, a pop star, one of the new generation making fortunes in sport. Jackie Stewart caps £2.65, Jackie Stewart sunglasses £2.95. Selling on his reputation for success. But what's he best at? Driving a racing car or doing business?
I think he's the most professional racing driver driving today, and he's certainly the best racing driver driving today.
The time, a few minutes before 3 o'clock, with a wildly excited crowd of 100,000 people. Surely one of the most colourful circuits in the world and one of the most demanding. This promises to be the best pipe opener of any season in motor racing history. There are no fewer than 16 new cars amongst the 23.
Enthusiasts are on hand in thousands to see the world's top Formula One stars jet into the circuit at Kyalami.
Trouble stopping the car, you know, my leg isn't strong enough to work the old brake too well, and so I'm having to brake fairly early, which is a bit of a disadvantage.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to be getting too tired, and so as is the first one of the season and the one I've been aiming at, I thought I'd have a go.
This was what all the hard work in recovery had been for. Hill was determined to make an impact.
A moment of truth for the man who many people reckon would never drive again.
Graham's first race, he wasn't really 100% fit again, a long way from it.
Ahead lay 80 laps, over 200 miles in the burning heat and dust.
Imagine driving with all the G-forces that you get in Formula One on the corners and the acceleration and the braking.
Into the straight and past the pits, a blur at nearly 180 miles an hour. At the end of a long day, Graham Hill was still going strong, but the last lap belonged to Jack Brabham.
10 drivers, including legendary figures like Surtees, McLaren and Ickx, retired early. But still, Hill hung on there. The checkered flag taken by Jack Brabham. Crowd's heart belonged to him.
There were grown men crying when Graham crossed the line. He had a standing ovation.
I just told everyone, well, I'll just pop down there and give it a whirl and see how it is. Knowing full well that I was going to give it more than a whirl.
That was a mark of the man.
Barely able to climb out of his car, Hill still had time to sort out his hair. What a champion.
This really was the race that must fortify the over 40s. For not only did Jack Brabham win it, but Graham Hill, the man we didn't think would probably be racing until October, finished 6th and earned the World Championship point.
Well, I was delighted to come 6th place. I think it's probably the hardest 1 point I think I've ever earned.
For Jack Brabham, adulation. For others, a sad trip back to the drawing board. But for spectators, surely a mere hors d'oeuvre for what promises to be one of the most richly spiced Grand Prix seasons in history.
But as the season unfolded, despite all his experience and guile, Hill was never able to repeat his former glories. Many thought he would call it a day and retire.
I would like to say how impressed I am at the way that you can interview. And I'd love you to retire from motor racing, take up commentating and give me an easier time. Thank you, Jack.
Colin Chapman's latest car has a completely redesigned front end, wedge-shaped for minimum wind resistance.
Well, it needs a bit sorting, but I'm very, very confident and I'm sure this car will be very, very good.
Into the hairpin, there they go, and there's a slow car there, and Brabham's gone straight on. Brabham's run out of road. Brabham's run out of road, and Rindt has it. Brabham goes straight on at the hairpin, and Jochen Rindt for Lotus wins the Monaco Grand Prix.
It was the Austrian driver's first of 5 championship wins. Rindt went on to take the Dutch, French and British Grand Prix, and was leading Brabham by 9 points when the 8th round was held at Hockenheim in West Germany. A crowd of more than 100,000 saw Rindt in his Lotus Ford number 2 take an early lead. Jackie Heeks challenged him all the way, but Rindt drove with great determination to win by 0.7 of a second.
That was 1970. In Grand Prix racing, Jochen Rindt became world champion, but died at Monza before he could collect the winner's crown. In 1971, motorsport could have a new ideal: how to make the racing safer, how to take the bitter taste out of the magnums of champagne.
Whatever aspect of Formula One you looked at, it was inherently dangerous. Actually, mobile petrol tanks with an engine strapped on one side and a driver strapped on the other, with no crash protection built into them at all. The circuits were dangerous. A lot of them didn't have any Armco or barriers. They had trees by the side.
Motor racing was very dangerous in those days. Everybody accepted that, but you never did think it was going to happen to you.
Danger. To some, it's pure box office. They think it's the risk that makes motor racing.